Today on the show, we have Ben Lalez from the Ben Lalez Team here in Chicago. Ben's actually been on the show before, and if I sound a little different and if I look a little different, it's because I'm actually in Ben's amazing Bucktown office, and he so generously invited me to come along. I'm excited to see you again.
Welcome.
Yeah, let me tell you a little bit more about Ben. We'll keep it short because we have a lot to sort of talk about, but Ben really started as a general contractor. He went full-time in real estate in 2019, and I want you to pay attention to these numbers because in 2017, he did $4 million in production. In 2018, $14 million, so a $10 million jump in just 1 year. The next year, he did $24 million, another $10 million jump. And in the trailing 12 months, Ben Lalez Team has closed $165 million in production, and it's just incredible. There's 45,000 real estate agents here in the Chicagoland area. I've yet to see somebody quite grow so quickly and build a team as fast as Ben has. He is a household name here in Chicago amongst agents, but Ben and his team pride themselves on thinking and dreaming big and never getting out hustled. To learn more about Ben and his team, please visit benlalez.com. That's BenLalez.com. Ben, it is a real pleasure to be here in your office.
Man, I didn't expect so much flattery right out of the gates, but we appreciate it. It's, there's no secrets, as you know, just hard work.
Well, it's funny because you hear so much about 10x or 3x, 5x, depending on how much you pay attention to things like valuation and growth, and a lot of it's, for lack of a better word, marketing sort of smoke and mirrors BS, and it's the promise of something that rarely ever happens. Businesses usually don't 10x. It's certainly possible, but you sort of have done that, and I don't know what the actual X is, but
From
it's
14 to 165, if you want to look at it that way.
Yeah, pretty significant.
4 years, yeah.
Yeah, in 4 years. So you've actually done that. So it's not just like, hey, we've just organically grown. Yes, you have, but you've organically grown in a way that's almost exponential. And that to me is interesting. And yes, of course, it's leads and business. Everything is leads and business when it comes to growth. But how were you able to accelerate it so much? Nothing was handed to you.
No.
And that's the other thing that's really important, because a lot of times when people get to certain levels of production, things do start to happen for them. Things are handed to them.
Yep.
But that really wasn't your path.
What I've learned along the way is, the most cliche thing ever. You have to spend money to make this kind of money. You'd be shocked if I showed you what my expense ratio is. You'd be
Sure.
absolutely shocked, but you have to be very, very on top of your numbers. So on the one hand, I think a huge part of this is I'm thinking about it a little bit differently, where people don't come into the business understanding that I'm a company. We are Ben Lalez LLC. We're established. We have, expense reports. We have P&Ls. And the average agent listening to this, I would imagine that's not how they're entering, right?
Sure.
I have the benefit of other businesses that either I shut down or have frankly failed, and you learn from them. The second way I would answer is this. You're a perfect example, DJ. Right before this podcast started, I think your watch lit up and you got an alert, right? And your eyes lit up.
So yeah, just to peel back the curtain. So I recruit agents, and I got a lead from one of somebody visited our website, said, hey, I'm thinking about joining your company. I was beside myself for a moment that I couldn't immediately respond to that.
Do we have it on camera? I think we have it on camera.
All right, cool. So we're basically gonna talk. So I just got a lead. Here we go.
However many years in,
Yeah.
If we get a lead via any channel, I'm getting the same notification. And if it's here today, $13,000 parking spot, right? Someone wants to buy a $13,000 parking spot. I am making sure that whoever it's getting assigned to is, actually taking care of this client. It may not be the sexiest thing in the world. We know it's not, but you never know where it's going to lead. So every single lead, no matter how attractive or unattractive, gets handled the exact same way. And I think that's a huge part of this is what is that way? It's our system. It's the, it's cheesy as hell, like the Ben Lalez way. I've taught it to 22 people now. lead comes in, you do A, B, C, D, E, and the system, we use Salesforce. Like, it's going to tell you exactly what to do and when, and just do it. And if you continue to do it over and over and over, and we have a funny saying, like, a lead isn't dead until they
tell you to screw off.
Yeah, until they tell you to F off is what we say.
Yeah.
And we have it for 365 days is our policy.
Sure.
Where I want proof that you were talking to a wall for 365 days, and then cool, let's kill it. Like, let's kill the lead, and then you move on. But how many agents do you know that don't follow up on a lead?
So I used to work, before I got into real estate, I worked for a tech company that generated health insurance leads for health insurance agents. So we were, at the time, the company I worked at, we were producing about 15,000 leads a day. And then we were selling them to agents all over the country. And so one of my jobs was to help educate the lead buyer about, because of course, as a company, we want them to keep buying leads, so we have to teach them how to work these leads. We had millions of leads, we had millions of leads that we could go through our data and look through our servers, and actually we had a CRM that would come with it. Now, not everyone used our CRM, but for people who did use our CRM, we were able to take a look at that data and see how quickly an agent would drop a lead, and it was shocking. So what we found was that the average consumer, when they need to buy health insurance, it would take them about 13 days before they'd actually make a buying decision. It's kind of complicated. You got to call your doctors. Are you in network with this, blah, blah. It's not quite as simple as other types of services. So it takes a couple of weeks. But the buying decision happens on day 13 on average. Most of our buyers would give up by day 3.
The buyers of the leads.
Of the leads. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. So the agents would buy these leads. They would call, maybe they'd call 10 times in 3 days. They'd give up. Person's not interested. They'd move on. We found, that person actually about another week from now is really going to make that decision.
Yep.
So I think we're sort of saying the same thing.
Speaking the exact same language, and a lot of it is, for the first 6 months, me or one of our sales managers is looking at every single lead, and we want to see that something was logged every single day. We have like a whole process for how often before you get to recategorize them.
Sure.
And we just, this is what I discovered from 4 to 14 and 14 to 23 million. Okay, this works. And then we just duplicated and poured gasoline on it and spent more money. And, people who are listening, who are spending money on, I don't care what lead avenue, like even agents on my team, follow up 2-3 times. If it doesn't pay right away, they move on. And we have ways to make sure, like, I'm notified when that occurs, and we track conversion ratios pretty intensely here. So you get a lead, we expect a certain conversion ratio on that lead for, the year, and just do it over and over and over and over again until you want to rip your hair out.